just exist, responsibility to make that a reality, and that's exactly what we're doing here today. So y'all, I want you to lean into that joy that Pep was talking about. I want you to smile big. I want you to hug hard. I want you to laugh loud. I want you to dance wild. Throw some ass when the DJ gets started. Yes! I want y'all to lean into this moment in history. I am so proud to be shoulder to shoulder with a long line of fighters, agitators, resistors, survivors. And I am especially proud to introduce someone who has spent their career fighting for trans youth and families, someone who has put so much on the line every single day for our communities, for our people, for our liberation. Please welcome my colleague, my brilliant friend, my personal hero, Chase Strangio.
Love you. Okay, hey everyone. We're gonna pray for me reading this off of my little tiny phone with my 42-year-old eyes, but I believe in this. We are making the impossible happen. So thank you all for being here today. I want to can we have a shout out for the organizers of today who are here all night in the rain? Thank you. Yes, and all the volunteers, yeah. And all you all for sitting out in the sun with not enough parasols, you got this. So thank you for joining us in this urgent and collective fight for our freedom and our future. Trans people, as you all know, in the United States are facing an unrelenting and escalating effort to push us out of public life entirely. And that effort is inextricable from larger attacks on democracy here in the United States and around the world. We are facing a perilous present and an uncertain future. So let's be real. Now is not a time for complacency. It is a time to be bold, defiant, and creative. It is a time, as AJ said, to look to our past, to chart a course of resistance for our future. And so because today is May 17th, I have been thinking a lot about other historic May 17ths. And I believe today, too, is going to be one of the historic ones, and what they tell us about our past and future. On May 17, 1954, the Supreme Court overturned one of its most unforgivable decisions, Plessy versus Ferguson, in Brown versus Board of Education. That's right. Holding that separate can never be equal, and that racially segregated schools violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. After centuries of chattel slavery, Jim Crow, and legally mandated discrimination, the court finally intervened to try to limit the ways that the government could target Black people for discrimination. That win was the product of centuries of organizing, mobilizing, surviving, dreaming, and fighting. And legally transformative as it was, it did not end segregation in our schools, nor did it mark the end of anti-Black racism in this country. These are forever fights we are waging for justice, and all of these fights are inextricably linked. 50 years after Brown, on May 17, 2004, same-sex couples began marrying in Massachusetts after a landmark state judicial court ruling that held that the exclusion of same-sex couples from marriage violated the state's constitution. Like Brown, that's right, all right, let's, we can do a little cheering for same-sex marriage, but we're gonna move beyond it. And like Brown, the Mass Court decision in Goodrich versus Department of Public Health transformed the legal and cultural landscape that we were living in. Entrenched ideas gave way to new ones. Realities that once seemed impossible started to take hold. We are 71 years post-Brown and 21 years post-Goodrich. This year is the 10th anniversary of the Supreme Court's decision in Obergefell v. Hodges, making marriage equality the law of the land. But on this May 17th, 2025, we are facing new efforts to drastically limit the promise of equal protection. Earlier this week, the Supreme Court considered the power of the judiciary to block Trump's attempt to ban birthright citizenship, a central and explicit promise of the 14th Amendment. We have a president who is openly attacking the plain language of even the most basic guarantees of our Constitution. In December, in United States v. Scarametti, the Trump administration and Tennessee were using attacks on trans people's medical care to narrow all of our legal protections and freedoms. These cases are a reminder that our freedom is tied up in yours, is tied up in the next generation of birthright citizens, and is tied up in the fate of the men who were disappeared to CICOT in El Salvador. Today, immigrants and trans people are being used to erode fundamental guarantees that so many people lived and died for. We are cast as monsters, contagions, invaders, and threats. And too many people who should be allies in our fight are turning against us out of fear or as part of their own bid for power. These are scary and painful times. It is impossible to deny that. But look at us here today. Look at these quilts. Look at us coming together. We are dreaming up a more powerful and beautiful future and present. And I am filled with hope and buoyed by our shared commitment to liberation, not just for trans people, but for everyone. So let's make a promise to those that came before us that we are going to fight for and build a future that is better for those that come after us. Whatever happens in these buildings, Congress, the White House, the Supreme Court, remember that we have the power to keep fighting. Each and every trans person looked at a predetermined course for our lives and said, no, that is not for me. And we fought for our truth in the face of resistance and violence and terror because we knew and we know now that there is nothing more beautiful or powerful than being exactly who we are. So thank you. Thank you for being here today, for being insistent on being yourself, for fighting for our collective freedom, and for showing up every single day because no matter what happens, we are going to win. Thank you.
Thank you, Chase. And now please welcome to the stage actor, activist, model, and absolute luminary, the star of the revolutionary hit show Pose, India Moore!
Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here with you all. Everyone's so beautiful and colorful, and I know it's really hot. So I really appreciate that we made the time to come out today together. I'm so grateful to be here with you all. It truly is a humbling and spiritual experience for me. I believe this about all of creation, but I do believe trans people are especially proof of God. We are proof of God's divine creativity. We are a reminder that our bodies are mere vessels and that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are proof of God's sassiness and love and grace and mercy and compassion too. Our relationship to ourselves is a love letter to humanity. The love we cultivate for ourselves is a reflection of what humanity needs right now. We are mirrors. I believe that loving trans people is an act of self-love. Trans people are wonderful. We are amazing in our quirks and our clarity. We are beautiful in the ways we see beauty everywhere, and in how we make beauty out of anything and can bring it out of everything. With all the pressure we are under for being treated like we are wrong, it becomes really important for us to discover and become what it truly means to be upright, to be correct and proper and buttoned up. But also this pressure teaches us to be free, to let go, and to be carefree and creative in ways that are not linear and maybe seem a little messy to some. But ultimately, we deserve to be free from the pressure of being anybody anyone else wants us to be. We must be free to be ourselves. We believe that everyone is beautiful. We grow from very challenging circumstances. We survive things most people could not hear about. And we come out of struggle even more beautiful than before. People find our will to be our most sincere selves very cool and appealing. They love our lingo and how we do makeup. We have great style. People ask us for tips on how to love themselves all the time. This is evidence that we are beloved, if not by anyone else, certainly by the Most High. And everyone who truly sees us knows And when we see ourselves, we know. What being trans has taught me is that I belong to something that is vast, infinite, colorful, powerful, beautiful, orderly, chaotic, and most of all, true. My transness is not a blemish of my faith. It is the pillar of my spiritual journey. And if it upsets someone that I have love and they want to take it away from me because I am trans, it is them who is not loving correctly. No one can ever take our love away. Our resistance is righteous. Freedom is promised here, and we will hold each other to that word. Love is what made us turn from babies to adults, and none of us would be standing here if it not had been for all the love that had come through all the people who cared for us throughout our lives up to this moment. May we remain loyal and steadfast to love. Historically, the communities we build have never been exclusive to just us. We create spaces for everyone, including and especially the outcast and the misfit. We choose our families out of everyone. That is how we got free, and that is how we will continue to be free. And that is proof that love helps us survive. Without love, we are nothing at all. But because we have it, we truly are everything. To those who use religion to legally persecute trans people, you use religion not to help make it easier to live, but to make it harder. What shame is upon them? Oppressing other people is not religious freedom, no matter what faith it is. Trans and queer people are not the reason why people are homeless, ill, or hungry. We are not the reason why women experience violence from men. We don't separate families, we build them. And we are not sending bombs to families either. You can love trans people and protect children. You can love trans people and protect women. You can love trans people and be upset about the violence in the communities that we come from. You can love trans people and feed others who are hungry. Our transness and our queerness may not be a choice, but punishing us because we exist is a choice. And it is one that no one is compelled to make. We cannot be more angry that people are trans than we are angry that people are hungry and being bombed with money that should be going to free housing and health care. There are too many people suffering from the real life consequences of systemic abuse and neglect for anyone's issue to be which restroom trans people use or which gender we play sports with. Religion is not a justification for abusing people, because you can certainly love trans people and please God at the same time. We are a test for those who claim to believe in love, yes, but we are not a threat. Their hatred for us is not our prison, it is theirs. May they use their religion to feed the hungry and enrich the poor, and make free health care and housing, and give asylum to those fleeing danger, and love everybody just like Jesus taught, for real, for real. We are free because we love. We stand by those who stand by others because we know that if our humanity is under attack, no one's humanity is safe. The resilience our freedom demands comes from love and from telling the truth, speaking it to power even when it is inconvenient or difficult, and with the faith that our beloved truth is powerful enough. NYU just rescinded Logan Roso's hard-earned diploma because he expressed his very reasonable concern about the normalization of genocide in Palestine. They will try to punish us for caring about each other and highlighting their hypocrisy and their lack of integrity as it pertains to the care of humanity. But no matter what they do, loving ourselves and each other is far more rewarding than they care to imagine, because they operate from hostility, hatred, and lying. The will to stand up for the truth is not something you learn in school. It isn't something you pay for. It isn't something you know. It It isn't something you pay for. It is something that you know. It's a choice you make. You either fight for it or you don't. Logan, our black trans brother, he fought for the truth, and he delivered it delicately, deliberately, and diligently and gracefully, might I say, to abuse of power. Do we stand by him in the name of truth? They teach us about genocide in school, and they take our diplomas back when we stand up for what we learned. They give us access to health care and hormones, and they take it back when it helps us heal. But Logan Rosos did not submit to falsehood because what he learned in school is the truth. We don't submit to hatred. We don't submit to oppression and persecution or political manipulation. May we stand on the principles that made us live and be free, the principles that made us joy and made us colorful as fuck. We stand on the principles that made us dance and vogue and strut down the runway in variations of beauty that have never been seen before. In the name of God, we were created to love and be as beautiful as we are in peace, and no one can take that away. So no, we don't submit to violence and abuse of power. We submit to justice. We submit to gentleness. We submit to generosity. We submit to genuineness. We submit to love. This is what stops us in a moment of uncontrollable anger. This is what compels us to forgive or let go. It's what demands our attention when we see a child who is hurt or someone in need asking for help, or when someone simply asks us to listen. Love is what calls us to action when the irrevocable freedoms of our comrade citizens of any race, gender, class, country, or religion is under attack. Our will to love, no matter what, is the foundation of our pride, and it always has been. Real, sincere love is what brought us here to this celebration of irrevocable freedom. We are here because we've always been here, and we are not going anywhere. We exist in every city, and every country, and every race, and every employment field, and we are all up in everything and in more genders than a lot of cis people can count. We exist across time and space. Get into it. We are transdimensional, and they can't keep track of our pronouns. But that's all right, because we are all of it, with and because of love. And so I want to introduce you to a family who's been living and speaking that truth in the name of love. And so please give it up for Stephen and Hobbs Chukumba. I know, I see them. I wanted to give you a hug first.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Can we give it up for India, please? My name is Stephen Chukumba. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I am an ally, a black man, an activist, and the father of Hobbs Chukumba. I am so grateful to be here with all of you. I'm grateful to be here with my son. I'm grateful to be here together in community with all of you, families, advocates, and freedom fighters. Being here with you means everything to me. Let me tell you a little bit about my journey, about our journey. The year after Hobbs' mother passed away, when our family was already navigating some pretty difficult times of grief and change, Hobbs came to me and he shared his identity with me. He shared that he was a transgender boy. And I remember sitting across from him, looking him in his eyes, and thinking and feeling one thing: love. There was no fear, no hesitation, just clarity. My job was, and will always be, to protect, affirm, and love my child. That's it. That's it. Supporting my child isn't radical. It isn't brave. It's what love is supposed to be. Unconditional. But in this country, right now, doing what's right as a parent can make you a target. Families like mine are being attacked. Not in some abstract way, but in real, tangible ways. Legislators are passing laws designed to isolate our kids, to isolate our families, to punish us for loving them, and to erase their identities altogether. And while many will try to frame these laws as parental rights, like, let's be serious, the only parents that they are fighting for are the ones who would reject, suppress, and or abandon their children.
Sorry, he's a lot taller than me. Hello, everyone. My name is Hobbs Chakumba. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm very proud to be here today. I'm proud to be given the chance to stand in front of all of you and speak my truth. I'm proud to be trans. I'm proud to be standing next to my dad, who has always had my back and supported me through everything. Gender-affirming care has helped me feel like myself. It gives me the confidence to walk through life with my head held high. It gives me peace in my mind and in my body. It gives me life as I see myself and as I want others to see me. This isn't politics. This is survival. This is about dignity. It's about truth. It's about being able to live authentically. But unfortunately, right now, so many trans kids don't have what I have. They're scared. They're scared of losing their health care, of being forced to hide who they are, of being torn away from people who love them and who they love. No one should grow up wondering if they're safe making their own healthcare decisions, if they're safe attending school, playing sports, going to the bathroom. Every kid deserves to feel safe. Every kid deserves to be supported. Every kid deserves the freedom to be themselves.
All right, he is a little shorter than I am, so. These threats to families like mine are not theoretical. I will never forget the day I got a call from my very good friends, Lisette and Jose Trujillo. They told me that they were leaving the United States, leaving the life they had built, the home they had bought, their business, their families, because they did not feel safe raising their son Daniel in the United States anymore. This isn't an abstract fear. I need everyone to really appreciate what I'm saying. The idea that someone could knock on your door and rip your family apart, it brought everything into focus. ICE agents had dragged families out of their homes just down the block from where the Trujillos lived. This is the reality we're living in. These anti-trans laws are not just policy, they're threats. They're making families like mine, like the Trujillos, like so many families that I know, live in fear. They're forcing people to make impossible choices. We should be protecting families, uplifting them, celebrating the love that holds them together. So as we unveil this quilt, this trans quilt today, this beautiful symbol of resistance, let's remember, we are stitched together by love, and we will not be unraveled by hate. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. It's incredible to be here virtually to witness the unveiling of the Freedom to Be panels displayed on the National Mall. Although we're saddened not to be there in person with you all, we can feel the love and solidarity of our community from across the ocean.
As you know, freedom to be means so much to all of us. It's a freedom of expression, of speech, the right to access gender-affirming care, and to live openly without fear for our safety. Freedom to be means being reflected back to ourselves in the books we read, our schools, at work, and in our families. And freedom to be means that we can also access public accommodations without laws that prohibit us. And freedom to be means that being trans is celebrated, to know that we are loved and valued. Freedom to be means living with pride and dignity. We have the freedom to be in this very moment. The fact that we are here together in solidarity and community is proof of that. We embody freedom just by being ourselves, and we will not let anyone make us afraid or erase us.
To all the families who are feeling scared and vulnerable, remember that there is power in community and that our love for our children is powerful and a conduit for change. Remember that proximity always changes hearts. Keep telling your stories, showing up at state legislatures, and keep doing all you can to protect trans youth. Together we can build a better future for our trans loved ones, a future where they have the right and the freedom to be.
How y'all doing? Yes, give it up for that amazing, amazing family. It takes so much to stay, but even more to uproot and leave out of fear. My name is Mariah Moore. I am the Director of Policy and Programs at Transgender Law Center, serving our community respectfully since 2002 as an organization, and I'm deeply honored to be here today, representing the South and representing all those who are fighting for justice wherever you are, especially in hostile states and around the world. I speak today not only as an activist, but as a proud Black trans woman from New Orleans, Louisiana. And I know firsthand what it means to survive and to lead with love. When I think of freedom to be, I imagine a world where we are no longer forced to explain our existence, where our brilliance is celebrated, not criminalized, where our care, our joy, and our truth are not acts of resistance, but simply life. I imagine children growing up free from boxes, free from binaries, and free from fear. I imagine us whole. And I know that world is possible because we're here together and we're building it. Thank you. Trans people, Black trans women, have always led. Even when no one said our names, we were at the front lines fighting, organizing and creating, not because it was easy and not because we were invited, but because we knew that deep in our bones that no one was coming to save us but us. And that legacy is one of care, because care is and will always be our legacy. Thank you. At Transgender Law Center, our program, Black Trans Circles, is just one example of how we are reclaiming healing and leadership. We know that organizing without healing is unsustainable, and we are creating spaces where Black trans women can not only survive, but breathe, rest, grieve, and dream. Because we deserve that, because we are worthy. I just want to add, Raquel Willis created that program. Thank you. We've always been here. Trans people, especially Black trans people, have always been here, a part of this country and this world story. Even when we didn't have the words, we existed. In the kitchens, in the fields, in the ballrooms, in the back pews of the church, we were there. We are not a trend, not a phase. We are not new, and we are not going anywhere. This moment asks us to remember who we are, to remember that we are the dreams of our ancestors and that we carry their strength. And every time we choose to show up, to speak out, to build community, we are saying we are still here. Every time we choose to engage in discourse with external factors and amongst each other, we're saying that we care because we are still here. And that is powerful, it is necessary, and that means that we are leaders. For those of us who stay and fight in places where leaving isn't an option, we dig deep. In Louisiana, we organize and we build block by block. We show up for each other when systems don't. We cook for each other, and until you've had a pot of red beans cooked by me, I don't think you've had some yet. But we celebrate each other, no matter how small our wins. We build joy in the cracks of a system that wants to break us, and that is what resilience really looks like. A lot of people like to talk about oppression and how it's worked and how genocide is worked, but while these systems may be at work, they will not work, and they are not working because as long as we are here, that is proof and evident that they will never work. And so I say this to every trans person fighting to be free: you are not alone. To those who choose to be visible, who choose to be seen, to those who choose to be unseen, to those we know, to those we may never meet, we are here for you. You are powerful, you are loved, and you are already enough. We are not just demanding freedom. We are living, breathing, walking proof that a better world is not only possible, it's already in motion. Thank you so much for having me, ACLU, and I'm so honored to represent Transgender Law Center. I'm going to go ahead and introduce an amazing artist, artivist, and activist, my sister, the icon, Shia Diamond.
When I say freedom, you say freedom to be. Freedom. 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 Now, 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 now. 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 There's an outcast in everybody's life, and I am her. There's a shadow in everybody's front door, and I am her. There's a dark cloud in everybody's sunlight, and I am her. Oh, you know I am her. All that glitters isn't gold. At least that's what I've been told. I got so many issues and problems that I go through. Sometimes I can't sleep at night. If I hide my face, heaven forbid, it wouldn't be the worst thing that I ever did. It's a hell of a world that we're living in. James 2:10, a sin is a sin. Don't look at me immediately and whisper behind my back thinking I'm naive. It's my southern hospitality tolerates more BS than even I can believe. There's an outcast in everybody's life, and I am her. There's a dark cloud in everybody's sunlight, and I am her. There's a shadow in everybody's front door, and I am her. Oh, you know I am her. Your ignorance leaves a hell of a stench. The aroma lingers on, generations have known. Ain't it ironic, the smarter we get,
the less we understand about the simplest shit. I am shame, she is me. We get down with our bad selves figuratively. Don't care too much what other people say. I get along swell by my goddamn self. Never ask for no one's philosophy. It's obvious I'm proud of me. Yeah, yeah. There's an outcast in everybody's life, and I am her. There's a shadow in everybody's front door, and I am her. There's a dark cloud in everybody's sunlight, and I am her. Oh, you know I am her. Now, 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 now. 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 Thank you.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I told your hand.
Let's hear it one more time for Shia Diamond. Shia, I'd love if you, I don't know if you would like to do this, but I would love for you to go up to the stage and address the crowd. Is that all right, y'all, if we break the program for her to address y'all for just a second? Let's welcome her back to the stage.
Thank you, thank you. It's such an honor to have this stage right now, to be able to speak when right now we feel unheard and unseen. So hello, beautiful people. I said hello, beautiful people. I stand before you as a beautiful, proud black trans woman, a singer, a survivor, a truth teller, but most of all, a woman who finally got the chance to live in her truth, fully, freely, and unapologetically, because of gender-affirming care. You see, gender-affirming care isn't just about medicine. It's about mirrors. Finally seeing yourself reflected in the way you feel inside. It's about freedom, the kind that lets you walk into a room without hiding behind a mask. It's about healing, not just from the trauma of being misunderstood, but from the constant ache of being unseen. Before I had access to gender-affirming care, I lived in a world that constantly told me I was wrong for simply existing. I was told my voice was too loud, my dreams were too big, and my identity was too much. But when I was finally given the tools to align with my body and my spirit, I found peace. I found confidence. I found power. Gender-affirming care saved my life. It gave me the strength to sing louder, love harder, and to fight with more fire than ever before. You better say that. It didn't just change how the world sees me. It changed how I see me. To every young trans person out there listening, you deserve joy. You deserve support. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve a future where your identity is not debated but celebrated. Where your existence is not a political issue, but a personal journey that only you can travel. We are not statistics. We are not punchlines. We are not your property. We are beauty. We are brilliance. We are bold, unapologetic, and free to be that and more. Gender-affirming care gave me back my reflection. And honey, what a gorgeous reflection it is.
give another hand for Shia Diamond for that fabulous performance and that fabulous word. I was being transported, I got to tell you. Now, throughout the crowd, y'all, I got to tell you that you've been given signs reminding us of why we are here today. To fight for our bodies, our lives, and our freedom to be ourselves. Also, there's some water out there for people. I know that y'all are sitting in the sun and you are baking. So we want to make sure that you are hydrated, and there may be a can or two of sunscreen. I hope it, you know, just try to share. I don't know how many, we'll find out how many servings are in the can. But those signs that we passed out earlier, please put all those signs in the air right now. I want to see those signs. Let's make some noise with those signs. I know a lot of people came in from around the area and around the country today, so can we hear from those people? Pennsylvania, where are you at? New York City, where are you at? New Jersey, where are you at? West Virginia. D.C. How? Okay, so I'm going to try this really quickly. Can we please try a quick cheer moment? I would love that, if that's okay with you. Please. Okay, we're going to get our voices up and our signs up all at the same time. This will be a fabulous social media moment. Okay. I'm going to say freedom to be, and you say for you and me. Let's practice. Freedom to be. Freedom to be. Freedom to be. That's right. All right, all right. We're going to do more of that a little bit later. One of the biggest things that we want people to take away from this monument and this event is that trans people are making homes and finding community for each other across the country. So I want to walk you through another cheer so people hear us loud and clear. When I say no erasure, no despair, you say trans people are everywhere. No erasure, no despair. Okay, we try it again. No erasure, no despair. Trans people are everywhere. Damn it. I can't even say it. I'm going to get it. No erasure, no despair. No erasure, no despair. No erasure, no despair. Beautiful. Before we keep this show moving, we wanted today to be all about joy and celebration and strength of our community, but it's also a day of action. Now, behind me on stage and on signs posted around the event today, you'll find a QR code that'll take you to a page to sign up to help us defend trans freedom from the threats that surround it today. You'll also see that if you text freedom to 82623, you can stay in the loop on everything happening with the U.S. versus Scrimeti, ACLU, and ACLU's fight for transgender justice. That's freedom, text it to 82623. And as a reminder, we are here today because of the Supreme Court's considering a challenge brought by the ACLU on behalf of 3 fabulous young trans people against a law banning the healthcare that they need. Families, advocates, and medical experts from around the country filed briefs in support of these 3 teenagers, and one of those is our next speaker. Please welcome, from the hit Showtime series Yellow Jackets, actress and writer and fierce icon in the making, Nicole Maines.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. Well, today. What time is it? I don't know. I'm from Los Angeles. Oh, I'm just gonna do that. I'm in Flats. So, recently, while I was out to dinner with a big group of people, I was talking to a very good friend of mine, and I was getting to know this new friend of hers who I was meeting for the first time. And eventually, at one point in the evening, my being trans came up, and she let out that big gasp that she gives. And she looked at me with that familiar combination of fascination and awe and disbelief. And then with complete earnest said, "I am going to give you the biggest compliment I can." You know what's coming. "I would never have thought you were trans." I know. No, I know. It's a shame. She had really pretty front teeth. Hey. I'm kidding, of course. I'm kidding. I'm very used to these kinds of qualified compliments. I know what she thought she meant, and I know that she was just trying to tell me that I look good, despite my transness. Hey now. So, because I am trying to display less patterns of biological male violence, I simply replied that yes, gender-affirming care works. And then I proceeded to explain to the table why it was so imperative for me as a minor to have had access to the hormone blockers that allowed me to forego male puberty and mature into the lovely young woman that they were so surprised by. Of course, the topic of conversation was quickly changed because, as it turns out, nobody wants a TED Talk for their birthday. It's difficult, right? You know, I don't want to bring down the vibe. I don't want to ruin anyone's night or be the one that reminds us all of the train tracks that we're all collectively tied to. But if I don't talk about it, and I don't address it when and where, okay, no, do your thing. No, go save somebody. Put out the fire. But if I don't talk about it, and I don't address it when and where it comes up, it never gets addressed. And then she goes on and she says that comment to somebody else. No, it wasn't her fault. She didn't have anything against trans people, and she and I and our mutual friend continued to go on and have a lovely evening together, because turns out she also liked the weed. But her problem was just that she was raised in the same world we all were. One that doesn't take any time to dispel all of the stereotypes about trans people that have been very deliberately manufactured and sold over the last 100+ years. Every single one of us who has ever owned a television has been taught exactly what to expect of trans people. And even without modern media's help, people are used to a very specific image of us. And it's not one that we chose for ourselves, but it's one that was the result of our oppression and lack of any other option. Now, of course, the specific image that I am referring to is, of course, the tried and true man in a dress cliche, because most of the time these guys' view of trans people isn't so expansive that they've even stopped to consider where trans men fit into this equation. Sorry, guys. Although, of course, if they have, it's only, of course, to lament for the poor teenage girl who was haplessly groomed into an unconscionable double mastectomy. Don't we know that teenage girls are only supposed to be getting breast implants? What are we going to do if these old straight guys don't find these girls bangable? It's not fair! They didn't get out of the cock-a-doodie car! Now, of course, what's changed is that for the first time, we have the opportunity and autonomy to actually have a say in how we exist. Whereas before, we didn't have any of the resources that would have allowed us authority over our face and body. And we had to make do with what we could afford from the doctors who would deign to give it to us. I was lucky enough to be born in the very brief window of time where we both had access to this care at a young age and weren't being subjected to the intervention of a political party who swears it stands for less government overreach. Now, that is not to say that getting said care was a walk in the park, and it certainly wasn't something that was just being handed out, and it definitely didn't get done in a single school day, Donald. Growing up, it felt like nobody believed that it was possible for me to know what I was talking about at my age, including my parents and doctors. I will never get back the hours I spent in different therapists' offices telling the same story over and over again. But the proof was in the proverbial pudding. The further I progressed in my transition, the more my mental health improved, as did my quality of life. Shocking, I know. When you're not forcing someone to be who they're not, they thrive. Now, I also want to make one very important distinction, that it is not a trans person's duty to pass, nor is it a requirement for us to exist in public life. You know who you are. On the TikTok saying shit. What this comes down to, as it so often does, is freedom. For the first time in contemporary history, trans people have the freedom to choose how we exist in the world. We get to decide how we present ourselves. We get to decide how we want to medically transition, if at all. We get to decide who we can be. We can do and be anything we want to, and we finally have a chance in the spotlight that we knew we'd look good in. For the first time, our options are limitless. And we aren't existing just by the grace of a world that doesn't understand us. We have claimed our identities and our lives and our bodies and our freedom. And we have done that through struggle, through hardship, through mutual aid and research and community. We have crawled on our hands and knees together to build ourselves up, and now they're feeling some type of way about the way they have to look up at us. So, before the Supreme Court is this case, U.S. v. Scrimeti, no N, that's an important distinction, that will decide whether or not the sweeping bans on gender-affirming care for minors is a violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. They want to make sure that we don't have any say in who we are. They have built a box for us, and they will be damned if we don't fit perfectly in it. Now, this case isn't about debating the effectiveness or necessity of gender-affirming care. That has already been proven and signed off on by every relevant expert in every relevant field. The world and human history is very familiar with the true nature of this kind of legislation. We all know these arguments are based in bias, not fact. So I will not waste my breath, So I will not waste my breath explaining to you all what we already know. What I will say is that trans people have always existed in all kinds of ways, in all kinds of bodies. You may force us backwards, you over there with the flat hair, Nancy, but we will never stop fighting you for our freedom. And no matter how hard you try, you will never be the authority on who we are. Reapply your sunscreen, babies.
Okay, y'all. Coming up to the stage is a very special moment. Not sure if you heard this, but the ACLU recently took Trump to court over the U.S.'s terrible passport policy that you've probably seen online. In the case Orr v. Trump, the judge ruled in favor of our two plaintiffs, Ash and Zaya. And right now, coming to the stage, well, first of all, you should know that they're going to continue that fight. ACLU is going to continue the fight to make sure that everyone, all trans people who need access to passports, will have the proper access, the proper gender markers, and a passport that they are deserving of with dignity. That fight continues. Right now, one of the plaintiffs in that case, Zaya Persian. Please welcome her to the stage.
Hey, y'all. My name is Zaya Persian, and I'm standing in front of you today because I believe we should all have the freedom to be ourselves. It seems like a simple sentiment, right? Well, apparently not. For far too long, we have been harmed by our society's constant need to single out certain groups and vilify them. I believe that once we let go of the divisiveness and the ignorance regarding trans people and other minority groups, it will play a key role in human advancement and unity as a whole. We are better together. Our differences make us beautiful, and I can't wait for that to finally be realized. But sadly, in reality, before that day comes, trans people like myself are constantly forced to stand up for our own dignity, our own self-determination, and our basic rights as human beings under the law. I mean, at this point, it seems like every other day there's new legislation or some new wild conspiracy theory making trans people seem like evil invaders from another dimension who need to be controlled. I mean, seriously, earlier this year, I was targeted and affected by a new policy enacted by this new administration attempting to control my identity and force me to conform to their standards. They wanted me to carry around a passport with a big, hideous M on it because that's all they see me as, a big, hideous M. Having a male passport restricts my freedom to travel safely and forces me to carry a dangerous document that I know to be a lie. At the end of the day, I'm a woman, a proud trans woman, and I know that may be triggering for people who hate to see others be happy and live freely, but I don't care. I don't give a damn. I live every day as a woman. I surround myself with people who see me as a woman and respect me as a woman. And these new anti-trans policies from the Trump administration are identical to many other attempts at controlling what a woman can be, what a woman looks like, what a woman can do. And to be quite blunt, nobody gets to define my womanhood or determine my identity for me. Only I do. Importantly, I'm also not alone. I don't know if y'all heard, but a few months ago, I joined a lawsuit filed by the ACLU on behalf of trans people across the country impacted by this passport policy. In other words, we sued the president and his administration. And we won. My co-plaintiffs need to travel for work, for family, and for school, but have also had their lives disrupted by this harmful and hateful policy by the Trump administration. One of these people is Ash Orr, an organizer and advocate from West Virginia. So please welcome Ash Orr.
Thank you. Thank you, Zaya. My name is Ash Lazarus Orr. I am a proud trans man from West Virginia, and I'm really thankful to be here with you all today. Also thankful for the folks from West Virginia who made it out today. So yes, on February 7th, I joined 6 other plaintiffs in filing a federal lawsuit against the U.S. State Department challenging their refusal to issue accurate passports to trans, intersex, and non-binary people. I signed on to this case because I'm quite honestly fed up with being made to feel unsafe by my own government. I am tired of having to explain over and over who I am just so I can move freely throughout the world. Ahead of the incoming administration, I tried to renew my passport. I was trying to protect myself and trying to plan ahead. But instead, they withheld it for 71 days. And when it finally came back, the sex marker was completely inaccurate. And this isn't just a clerical error. It was a message telling me that we don't belong, we don't see you, we don't care if this puts you in danger. And a passport that misgenders me isn't just, again, a piece of paper. It is a threat. It puts me at risk of harassment, invasive scrutiny, and denial at borders. And I've already had to cancel international health care because of this. And the harm, unfortunately, did not stop there. My marriage certificate was returned to me, crumpled and torn down the middle, and I am still missing my original birth certificate. And again, this is not just about paperwork. It is about power and control. It's about a government using bureaucracy to erase us, to make us invisible, and to make us complacent. And I have lived this. A couple of years ago in Iceland, I was denied a rental car because my passport said female, while my real ID and license said male. I spent 2 humiliating hours trying to prove that I was who I said I was. And just this January, TSA flagged me while flying from West Virginia to New York. They accused me of using fake IDs, scanned my documents over and over, took my photo, pulled me aside and interrogated me. And it wasn't until I outed myself as a trans man was I allowed to be continuing on with my trip. This was quite honestly invasive, it was humiliating and frightening. And that's why this case matters, because this is more than just about documents or us plaintiffs. It's about the freedom to be safe, and it's something that every single person should have, regardless of gender. So when the government refuses to acknowledge our identities, it is sending a message that our existence is up for debate, and that is not the case. But they are also saying that our safety is a secondary concern, that we don't belong. But this case sends a different message. We do exist, we do belong, and we're not backing down. And I joined this lawsuit, not just for me, but for every single trans, intersex, and non-binary person who's been told their identity is too complicated to be respected, too inconvenient to be protected. We deserve documents that reflect who we are. We deserve safety at every border, every checkpoint, and every bureaucratic desk. And from Appalachia to Palestine, we will not back down until that freedom is real for every single one of us. And I am incredibly proud to be standing in this moment, in this fight, with Zaya and our other plaintiffs and all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ash. Both Ash and I know that this is way more than just a tiny letter on a passport. This is part of a broad, calculated, and targeted effort by the Trump administration to push trans people out of public life completely. They want to ban our health. They want to ban our health care, censor our speech, and control our lives like we're their political puppets. But trust me, we will not be that. We deserve better than this because all people deserve better than this. And that's why we all have a responsibility not just to defend each other's freedoms, but to celebrate it. The installation behind me on the National Mall is a testament to the love and creativity and beauty that is possible whenever we join this fight together, especially when powerful oligarchs try to divide us because of who we are or who we love. We have to lift each other up by holding each other close. Our power is in each other. And we're not backing down, baby. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. We're not going anywhere. We're not just surviving. We're not just fighting. We're thriving. We're dreaming. We're building a future where trans people are not just accepted, but celebrated. Regardless of who we are, what we look like, or where we're from, we all deserve the freedom to be ourselves. Thank you all.
Now, let's keep things moving by bringing up one of Time's Women of the Year for 2025 and one of Time's 100 Most Influential People, co-founder of the Gender Liberation Movement, Raquel Willis.
Good afternoon, everybody. Make some more noise. Now, I know I always got to call out the weather because we have been through currents and water and rain to make this day happen. We have the stifling heat right now, but we also feel a breeze of liberation, don't we? Okay, somebody looking out for us. Some transcestors looking down on us right now. So I also want to say what a beautiful day it is to be trans, to be non-binary, to be intersex. And it is a beautiful day to be on the side of gender liberation and bodily autonomy for all. So I want to talk to trans and non-binary youth real quick and our intersex youth. I'm sorry that we are still fighting for your liberation. But you should know that you are not alone, that we come in multitudes, that no one is going to come after your right to be yourself and define yourself on our watch. So we are in a moment of many battles. Passports are being denied. Our migrant family is being detained. Our sex workers are being criminalized. Black and brown people, especially if we are trans or non-binary or intersex, continue to be policed, incarcerated, or worse. And today, we are here because the Supreme Court is considering whether trans youth deserve the right to be who they are and access health care. Can we say shame? Shame that we even have to fight for this right. So let me be clear. This case isn't just about trans youth. It's about all of us. It's about whether any of us can make decisions about our own bodies and whether those rights are treated as fundamental and not conditional. And this is also a defining moment, because when the state says that they can deny gender-affirming care to young people, it feeds the fascist idea that we can deny any kind of care, that we can deny access to abortion, to birth control, to HIV/AIDS medication access and treatment, to access and treatment for disabled and neurodivergent folks, and even that we can deny parents the ability to make decisions with their children about their bodies and how they navigate the world and their futures. So these same politicians trying to ban puberty blockers are also trying to ban abortion. They want to surveil all of us. They want to surveil pregnant people. They want to criminalize affirming parents and punish anyone who resists their control. But we're going to resist, right? We're going to be defiant, radically defiant, in the face of all of this push for power. Because this is about power. It's not about protection, as they claim. And that's why we have to continue to draw a bold line that the fight for gender-affirming care is the fight for bodily autonomy for all, full stop. So we're here today because we have this beautiful, glorious freedom to be quilt. And it's stitched together with the vibrant and prismatic vision of all of our communities. It echoes the radical act of love that was the AIDS Memorial Quilt, reminding us that we have always been fucking defiant, and that we have survived many eras where the government has not been on our side, right? So let this quilt serve as a testament that hate and ignorance is no match for queer creativity, connection, and people power. And let us also remind those Supreme Court justices that we will not compromise on care. We don't want the state making decisions about our body. We want the state to expand care to those who can't access it. And we want trans, non-binary, and intersex youth to define themselves, not be defined by the small vision of these bigots. We want affirming parents and physicians to be supported, not punished. And we want an end to the capitalistic gatekeeping of healthcare and a canceling of all medical debt. Yeah, we actually want more. We don't just want what we have right now. We want more. We deserve more. Because living should not be unaffordable. And our lives should not come with a price tag. And yes, we also want universal health care. We want the care that our ancestors never had, but always deserved. So no matter what they legislate, restrict, or erase, they are not going to get rid of us. And our vision of liberation, our vision of liberation, it is far more powerful than their vision of violence and their vision of restriction. We are fighting for a future where all bodies are understood as sacred, where all people are understood as free to define and care for ourselves and each other. So let me remind all of you that there's a bigger fight that is swirling all around us. Youth all over the world are being failed, and we have an opportunity every day to turn this world right side up. From the U.S. to Gaza, where Palestinian children are being buried under rubble, where children in so many different countries and places wrecked by colonialism and white supremacy are dealing with violence and genocide. We have to end it all. We have to stop failing our youth. And a wise man once said, "Injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere." So if you've been silent up until today around violence and erasure and genocide, you can make another decision. You have that opportunity. Many of the trans youth and non-binary youth and intersex youth that we are gathered here for today are already organizing and already leading. From climate justice to labor to abolition and demilitarization, and yes, on the front lines of pro-Palestinian defiance. This week I was heartened, just like my sibling India Moore, by Logan Rosas, a black trans queer student at NYU who used his platform to name the genocide of Palestinians and call us into solidarity. And let me just say, it is not a surprise to me that a queer black trans person said that on that stage. And he said that in the lineage of all of our ancestors who were fighting for a better world for those who have consistently had the least and had even that little bit stolen from them. So let's answer that call and continue to defend and protect their lives and their power, because I still believe in our power. And y'all know I love a call and response, so I'm going to ask you to do some labor with me again today. I want to give some love to one of my movement aunties, Miss Tabitha Gonzalez, for putting this on my heart just before I got up here. So repeat after me. Say, I am my own liberation. And look at a neighbor, because y'all got a lot of neighbors out here, and say, you are your own liberation. And you know we got to bring it all together, because it's not done unless we get that big we together. We are our own liberation. So we got to do it again louder. Y'all know how this goes. I am my own liberation. You are your own liberation. We are our own liberation. And let anyone who wants to continue to come after us and our care understand that we do believe in the liberation of trans youth, and we do believe in gender liberation for all. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Jack Kwame. Thank you.
Here, I have it in my ear. I look good? Thank you, I needed that. It's hot. How y'all doing? Y'all melting. My name is Jack Kwame. I use they, them pronouns. I'm an abortion storyteller with We Testify, and I'm happy to tell you that today, or this month, marks my 14th anniversary of my gender-affirming abortion. Oh, I'm glad you were excited for me. I'm excited too. Are there any other queer folks who had an abortion here today? I see you. Thank you for coming. I came out as trans in 2011. I'm older than I look. I know I look good. At the time, there wasn't much conversation about people like me, folks who weren't transitioning into a binary gender. And the understanding of transition was mostly medical, via things like top surgery and HRT. But I didn't hate my chest, and I didn't have access to HRT in my state unless I jumped through hoops to assert an identity that didn't fully fit me. While I was chewing on this newfound lack of gender identity, I found out I was pregnant, and I knew I didn't want to be. More than that, I had to examine how this pregnancy made me feel about my body. And for the first time, I experienced something I'd only heard about, dysphoria. The experience of pregnancy felt like a transition I didn't choose. If I remained pregnant, my body would change in the way it looked, felt, and functioned, possibly permanently. It was distressing and absolutely not what I wanted for my life. So when I say that my abortion was gender affirming, I mean that it allowed me to make decisions for myself, by myself, about how I wanted to feel in my body. It gave me time. It gave me space. It gave me the power to shape my identity, my future, and my relationship with my body on my own terms. And most of all, it brought me relief. I'm now 34 and almost a year on testosterone. Thank you. I'm excited. Pride Month T-Day. I've built a life I would have never had if 20-year-old Jack hadn't had access to an abortion. But even now, there are still barriers. There are countless times when I've tried to access gynecological care only to be told that I must be mistaken, as only cisgender women need it. This then led me to hide my identity from my doctors for fear that the quality of my care would suffer if I didn't, something no one should have to do. These experiences highlight how the healthcare system so often fails trans and gender nonconforming people. Medical discrimination against trans folks impacts our reproductive health care, our pregnancy care, and the fundamental right to be treated with respect. It's important to remember these barriers aren't experienced in a vacuum. Trans people face layered discrimination due to racism, classism, transphobia, and anti-blackness. For trans people of color, the intersections of systemic oppression create even greater obstacles. We can't talk about reproductive justice without centering these realities. This current wave of political attacks isn't isolated. It's a broader effort to control all bodies, especially those of marginalized people. We see this in the relentless assault on abortion access and the targeted attacks on gender-affirming care for trans youth. Right now, the Supreme Court is considering U.S. versus Scarametti, a case challenging the discriminatory ban on gender-affirming care in Tennessee. This case is innately tied to our fight for reproductive justice. It's about our fundamental right to make decisions about our own bodies, free from government interference. If this ban is upheld, it'll embolden other states to further restrict access to essential care, undermining bodily autonomy for us all. One of the core values of reproductive justice is bodily autonomy, and that autonomy is not conditional. It applies to me as a trans person, and it applied to me as a pregnant person who didn't want to be, and it applies to everyone who's ever been told that their body is up for debate. That means our bodies, our health, and our futures belong to us. This is a fight for liberation and dignity, for our right to exist and to thrive. The voices and experiences of trans and gender nonconforming abortion storytellers like those in We Testify are vital to this movement. For too long, the abortion narrative has been narrowly focused, erasing people like me, because not only cisgender women need abortions. Leave here today with a renewed commitment to a truly inclusive reproductive justice movement, one that recognizes the interconnectedness of our fights for bodily autonomy. Trans people are not footnotes in the fight for reproductive freedom. We are not exceptions. We are not hypotheticals. We are standing right here beside you, or in my case, sitting in front of you. This isn't just about the freedom to choose. It's about the freedom to live, the freedom to decide, and the freedom to fully exist in our bodies. Because the freedom to be means the freedom to become whoever you want. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage our final speaker, Fatima Cosgraves, the president and CEO of the National Women's Law Center.
I am the final speaker. All right. Thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Fatima Cosgraves, and I'm president and CEO at the National Women's Law Center. We've been around for more than 50 years, fighting to protect the rights of women, of girls, of gender-expansive people through the courts, through Congress, and through our culture. And it is so wonderful to be here today with people who get it, who get that gender justice means trans justice, who get that the liberation for women and girls means liberation for all women and girls, and that everyone deserves the freedom to be their authentic selves. And that no one is made more free when any group is targeted and demonized. And, you know, I was reminded that recently when I was invited to testify before Congress. After 4 months of a series of chaotic and cruel actions by DOJ, actions that led to firing of civil service workers and halted research around the world, I was invited to testify before the House DOJ committee, who held a whole hearing on trans women in fencing, like the sport. So it's ridiculous that rather than focusing on the chaos of DOJ, or rather than focusing on what women in this country actually want and need, what would improve their lives, they held a whole hearing on one fencing match between one trans woman and one cis teen. That doesn't seem like government efficiency to me. So don't get me wrong, when I am asked to defend the inclusion of trans women in sports or trans women in society, I will always show up. I want to say it again, I will always show up. But in part, I want also to be clear that I am showing up in part to make very clear that I do not feel protected by any efforts to discriminate against trans women. I want to be clear that I see right through that. I want to be clear that we will not be distracted. We know that trans women are not taking away our health care or raising the unemployment rate, and they are not the cause of problems in sports or in society. So the National Women's Law Center will always show up, whether it's in Congress, whether it is at the Supreme Court to protect trans health care, or in our culture to say loud and clear that trans women are women. To say loud and clear that our rights and our fights are intertwined. That we cannot achieve liberation for some of us without achieving actual liberation for all of us. And I have to say that's what I find so beautiful about this monument. Quilts are inherently a testament to the power of solidarity,
Just think about the number of folks who gathered together to do their part to stitch a quilt. Think about the amount of time they gave, the actual amount of fabric. Think about how they worked to make strong quilts, how durable quilts are, how resilient they are. I think the quilt shows us what happens when people can come together across generation, across identity, across race and gender and ethnic background. When we can come together, we can create a movement for gender justice that fights for the freedoms of us all. And together, that's how we win. So thank you, and happy World Pride.
Y'all, we made it. Most of us, y'all stuck it out. Give yourselves a round of applause. What an incredible day that we had together. Let's thank all of our speakers, our organizers, our families, our leaders in this critical moment, not just for the trans people, but for all of us in this country right now. Today was made possible by the ACLU, its national affiliate network, Gender Liberation Movement, but most importantly, it was made possible and could only be possible because of each of you. And I'm also grateful to be here. I'm grateful for the show of community. I'm grateful for the hard work put into the quilts. I'm grateful for the symbolism and that the comfort of the quilts provides. I'm grateful for the history and its inspiration and the legacy that it draws from the history of the AIDS quilt. I'm grateful for the invitation to learn about all of that history. I'm grateful for the opportunity to understand and learn about the many systems of oppression used to persecute, ostracize, and dehumanize our community. I'm grateful to learn about the very pervasive and insidious characteristics of American fascism, its effects, and who it targets. I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn about these things, and I'm also grateful to know that the key to these things and their protection lies in our ability to build solidarity with each other and with those communities, with those in and outside of our community. I'm grateful to be reminded that my ancestors and even my relatives understood the importance of building solidarity with the labor movement, a legacy that I want to carry on, not only by living in the example, but by capturing our stories, our lore, our very queer essence, to help create an archive that will last generations. Just like these stories, which are an expression of art, but ultimately a record of who we are, who we loved, and what we fought for. But most of all, I'm grateful for my evolution, the evolution in my ability to view pride as not just a moment of joyous celebration, but a moment of inevitable resistance that will benefit generations to come. And with these quilts, that moment starts right here, right now. Because ultimately, this is our country. The monument behind us is our testimony. Around us are the buildings holding our history and our achievements and our art and creativity. The grass that we're standing on belongs to all of us. And there are some in this country who want to draw lines around people who look different or speak different or come from another country or have a family that doesn't look like theirs and decide who gets to have rights, who gets to be heard, who gets to enjoy the freedom over their own body and their own identity. And because we are here today, because we refuse to let them draw those lines around us. We refuse to let them decide that we are less deserving of safety and equality and dignity because of who we are or who we love. And, like every generation that has come before us, we can't say for sure that when we'll win. But we know for sure that we will win. We will reach the future that we all deserve. And we know that we'll never get there if we allow ourselves to be pushed into the shadows, onto the margins of this country. We know we have to speak up and be heard. Because we want the freedom to be who? You and me. Freedom to be who? Thank you so much for all of you for coming out here today and braving this very direct sunlight. Please spend some time with the quilts if you haven't already and the artwork behind me on stage. I hope that each of you will find a placard with information about who made the quilt and what inspired their design. Take photos, take videos, help us spread the word. Before you go today, please remember to text FREEDOM to 82623 and stay up to date on the U.S. versus Scrimeti case that the ACLU and all that the ACLU is doing to protect our rights and freedom. And there's free ice cream, courtesy of Ben & Jerry's, okay, and products from our friends at Lush. They're available at the tent behind me, at tent number 4 behind me on the north side of the quilt installation, close to the National Gallery. So stay cool, stay hydrated, check in on each other, and if you're spending more of today on the mall, if you are doing that, please, please, please know, we want you, and I'm a little bit, the heat's getting to me too, bitch, because we, and you and all, whatever, we need each other. That's the bottom line. We will keep us safe. We will defend our own freedom and each other's. And we will never let trans people across this country forget that they are not alone. Thank you so much. Happy World Pride.
Make some noise for Peppermint! Make some noise for the ACLU! Thank you all so much for attending our program. Please have a safe and beautiful World Pride. Thank you. That's our show.
I was petrified, kept thinking I could never live without you by my side. But then I spent so many nights thinking how you did me wrong, and I grew strong, and I...
He came from somewhere back in how long ago. The sentimental fool don't see, trying hard to recreate what had yet to be created. Once in her life, she musters a smile for his nostalgic tale. Never coming near what he wanted to say, only to realize it never really was. She had a place in his life. He never made her think twice. As she rises to her apology, anybody else would surely